Welcome to the Women's Basketball Preview Show. I believe this is our fifth show. Coach Bias is on another assignment this morning. He's out in the public schools with his other job in admissions, so I'm taking over. Guest with us today will be Coach Markham, which we'll talk about here very shortly. And then we also have Haley Jordan and Mikhail Bates, two of our players that we want to talk to a little further in depth. Coach Markham, first of all, welcome to the Women's Basketball Preview Show. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Brooke Markham. I went to high school at River Valley, right down the road, about 10 minutes away. I played 4 years here underneath Coach Molly, and this is my fifth year as a coach underneath Coach Molly.
And we're glad to have you here, and this is an exciting thing that we're doing. This is Coach Bias's baby, so to speak, and it's been a good thing, and we just want to communicate with the people out there, our fans, about what's going on and what's happening, and would like to kind of recap our last three games. And you know, it's been a whirlwind. Just a quick update, which anybody that's following us kind of knows what's going on, but we are fortunately to be 12-0. Excuse me. We've had some great highlights. We've had China Chambers scoring 1,000 point in her career. Avery Harper also scored 1,000 point. We've had a win over a top 10 program in the country in the NAI top 25, and that was with Indiana Tech, and that's the first time that's happened in the program. And we're just excited to be doing what we're doing, and coming off a Thanksgiving break, and that we didn't have this show last week due to Thanksgiving break. This is, like I said, our fifth show. Let's talk a little bit about West Virginia Tech. Coach, what do you recall about that game against a very good West Virginia Tech, which is also an arch rival, but what were your thoughts on that game?
Well, you know, going into it, we just picked with West Virginia Tech in the conference, with both of us being tied for first place. It's a great team. You got the twin sisters, then you got Butler, the post player. You got all the key players that they had last year, but you know, they got a change of coach. You know, I don't think they're adapting too well with the coaching, but I think that they're going to come on. And, you know, that game when they came to us last week, you know, at first it was a little struggle trying to get used to it. But, you know, normally we're a second half team. So I felt like we did a good job on taking the lead in the second half.
You're exactly right, and some of the highlights of that West Virginia Tech, anytime you beat West Virginia Tech, which has always been a rival of ours, is always a good thing. But we had some players that really stood out. Off the bench, Avery Harper had 15 points, 12 rebounds versus West Virginia Tech. And then Kaylee Darnell, 15 points. China Chambers, 11 points, 5 steals and 5 assists. Haley Jordan, 12 points, 4 rebounds. Ella Skeens, 12 points, 10 rebounds. And Aaliyah Kreitz, 9 points, 2 blocks, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 7 rebounds. So that was to me, that was a good program win. It kind of jump-started us a little bit on what we needed to get accomplished going forward. And it's always good to get that first game with West Virginia Tech, and we're fortunate to have that at home. But we'll have our hands full when we go down there. Our second game, Indiana Tech. Talk a little bit about that. That was maybe one of our first true road trips where we had an overnight stay. Let's talk a little bit about Indiana Tech from your perspective.
You know, Indiana Tech, we met them last year in the national tournament at Thomas More. You know, we played right with them in the first quarter. Second quarter, we didn't have a good quarter. We had scored 2 points, and you know that kind of lost us the game there. But I felt like the girls overall, when we went there, they was business. They knew what we needed to get done. You know, we had you know, Haley Jordan went 7 for 7 at the free throw line. She had 6 rebounds, 17 points. Then you had China. I felt like she finally came on, and that was a game that we needed her. She had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, played 38 minutes. You can't really complain about that. And then you had Avery Harper, had 12 points, 9 rebounds. You know, every time at the end of practice, you always say free throw is going to win a game. We went 29 for 36 for 81%. I felt like that won us the game.
That was huge, and you know, and you're right. We preach about that, and you know, our goal is to shoot at least 24 attempts per game. In order to do that, you have to penetrate. You have to make them guard you, and we did a great job at that. And We used to want to say 78% free throw line, but I think one of our freshmen said no, it's got to be 87. So
Kaylee Darnell,
that's a new goal there. So that was a huge win. That was that top 25 team. They were number 9 in the country. They were 9-0 at that particular point, and that was another signature win for this program. And then we just finished up last night with Ohio Christian in this 3-game series this past week. Ohio Christian, we always kind of struggle a little bit with them. As a matter of fact, even last night, this was the 5th straight game that Ohio Christian had a lead on us at halftime. And sometimes it's been 8, 9, and 10 minutes. So talk a little bit about Ohio Christian and what transpired.
Well, we came out, I think, a 15-2 run. We came out like we normally do, and then we kind of relaxed. I feel like we put it on cruise control. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to tell the team, you can't do that. You can't do that, because when we go up against a good opponent at a West Virginia Tech or at a Indiana East, we're going to struggle in that situation. But we came out, especially coming in at halftime. We was down by 1, but we pulled it together, came in as a team, and I felt like we did a overall great team. I mean, you can't complain when you got 35 assists as a team. I mean, we're sharing the ball. We're doing something right.
Doing some great things. You mentioned 35 assists, and Coach Bice, he's a stats guy, and we'll have him go back and look. That's up there with as far as teams in this program in my era. And 35 assists. China had 10 of those. Ella had 6, and Kaylee Darnell had 5, and obviously several other players finished out the assists. But that was huge. And our game last night was sponsored by HT Marketing, Mr. Bobby Hood in the Gallipolis area, and they've just been a tremendous support of our program over the years, and we were happy to bring them home a victory, and we even went out on the court at the end and took a picture in front of their sign. So that was a huge win. Our bench last night, and this is typical of what our bench does, our bench scored 22 points, whereas Ohio Christian's bench scored 6. That's one of the main ingredients as to why we're having the success that we're having.
Now, you say that. Last night that was a big key, I thought, against Indiana Tech. We scored 29 points from the bench, and then I think Indiana Tech had 12. So I feel like the bench played a big part in that win there too.
It did, and we're going to talk more in depth about the Indiana Tech game with Miss McHale here shortly, and Miss Jordan with some of the things that she's been doing over the past, her entire career here. At this particular point, we're excited about who we are and what we're doing. We talked about we didn't talk about Player of the Week. That was a couple other accolades that we've had. We've had 2 players that's reached that milestone in the Mid-River States Conference. They choose a Player of the Week from all the games that are played in that past week. And Ella Skeens was that one week. Haley Jordan, we just got that this past week, and we're going to talk a little more in depth about that. Then our next segment part, we're going to bring our 2 players up, and we're going to talk with Miss McHale and Miss Haley, and we'll be right back. And welcome back. We have a couple of nice guests with us here. Our players are going to talk to us and let us know what's going on in the life of a basketball player, not only on the court but maybe off the court. And ladies, I want you to kind of introduce yourselves. So tell them who you are.
I'm Haley Jordan, a junior from Columbus, Ohio.
I'm McHale Bates, a junior from Pickerington, Ohio.
And ladies, we're honored and pleased to have you here. Tell your fans a little more about yourself, what you're majoring in, what year you are, and keep in mind the COVID year, and just let them know, what's the future hold for you.
Well, I'm a junior. I guess you could say COVID sophomore.
There you go.
I'm majoring in sports and exercise, and for this season, I just want to win the conference, get a ring, come on, have fun with my teammates.
Cool.
I am a junior education-wise and a COVID sophomore basketball-wise. I came in as a transfer also, so this is only my 2nd year here. I am a early childhood education major with a dual licensure in special intervention. And same as Haley, I just want to get a ring. I want to take our team farther than we did last year.
So McHale, you are you're in a field that I know you have one tremendous instructor, one teacher that you deal with on a daily basis. You want to talk a little bit about that class?
Yeah, this guy, he's just great. Like, he's the best person that I could ever ask to be in a class for. So I'm not going to say any names, but he's sitting next to me. So
Yeah.
I'll make sure I pass that on to that guy.
Pass him
This
on.
young lady, and I got to meet her grandfather up at Indiana Tech last Saturday. I think that's the first time I'd met, and I really want to sit down and talk with him. He's a educator. He's coached basketball, boys basketball, and made it to Final Four a couple of times. And I see, Mikhail, I see where you get some of the things that you do from, and Mikhail's gone into education, so that's in my bailiwick, and that's awesome. That she's going to be a great teacher. Miss Mikhail, let's talk a little bit about Indiana Tech. First of all, let's talk about a role player. You're a role player. You come in off the bench, and give your fans out there a little bit of a insight as to what goes through your mind, and what's the purpose of your role and your job.
Well, before we get into my role on the court, off the court, I feel like being the hypest person on the bench is the most important, making sure I get my teammates involved on the bench. So cheering, making sure everybody feels the love from the bench while they're on the court so that they can perform as well as they can. And then once I get on the court, knowing my scouting report first. So knowing that this player is a driver or this player is a shooter, and getting in defensively and knowing those things helps me a lot. Also, bringing the energy onto the court defensively and offensively, taking care of the ball. Defensively wise, having the most energy, being the first one down the court, picking up my man full court, and taking some of the pressure off of maybe some of the other guards so that they don't have to work as hard defensively, or they can get like a break when I get in. That's most important, so that they can perform and score baskets for us and make sure that we beat teams like Indiana Tech. Offensively, seeing last year that our guards had a lot of turnovers, this year it's really important just taking care of the ball, and that's one of the things that's been different from last year. We started out the season averaging like 30 turnovers, and now against Indiana Tech, which is a great defensive team, we only had 8 turnovers, so that's a great turnaround this year.
Excellent job, and I'm glad we have all this on record, because this is what people need to hear. And this young lady is dealing with her role and accepting her role, and she, we talk about when players come in off the bench to win some games. Miss Mikhail did that last year, and she's doing that again this year. And I want to transition a little bit over to Miss Jordan. Miss Jordan last year came in off the bench. She didn't start games last year. Now her role has changed a little bit, where she is starting. So Haley, and one of the terms that Miss Mikhail said, and I'm learning things, and I learn something every day with these ladies. Hypest, or hype, the hype. I don't know what the plural was, but she said she hypes it up. Maybe that's what she said. Haley, talk a little bit about the hype. What does that mean to you being a starter, and kind of parlay what Miss Mikhail said about her role coming in off the bench?
Well, for being the hypest, I think Mikhail definitely holds it down when it comes to being the hypest. Like, when we're on the court, like run up and down defense, you always hear Mikhail. So like, she's definitely the hypest, always has the energy. Timeouts, they're always keeping us going. Like, when we come for a timeout, we may be tired a little bit. They just give us that extra energy to keep going, go back out there, keep the energy rolling.
Excellent job, and that hypest, that's the word. I'm learning that. Good job on that. So Miss Mikhail, you talked about your role, and we're talking about Indiana Tech, and as a coach, I'm saying this as a coach, you were the instigator, you were the spark plug, you were, to me, in my mind, and we had a lot of players that created that environment for us to win that game, and not to diminish anybody's role, but I felt what you did, and when you came in, I thought you were the turning point in that game. I'll tell you your stats: 9 points, 2 steals, 2 assists. You were 7 for 8 at the free throw line. At a crucial time in that third middle to end of third quarter and fourth quarter. You did a great job. Give us your insight on that. What went through your mind? How did all that happen? And talk about that.
Well, I think for points wise, 9 points is probably the most that I've scored here. So I think my goal wasn't really scoring. It was more so make sure that I make plays on defense, make sure I don't turn the ball and distribute the ball. Free throw wise, seeing that last year I didn't have the best free throw percentage, and Haley yells out when we're on the bench, remember that if you miss your free throw, you're gonna run. So all that going through my mind, making sure that I make my free throws, trying not to run in my head, that just made it so that I could make 7 out of 8 free throws. But at the end of the day, my goal when I get in the game is just to play defense, play as hard as I can for as long as I can, make sure that I get the ball to my scorers, which is basically everyone, distribute, because scoring isn't my first goal. Making defensive plays, doing like the dirty work is more so my goal. And in that, everybody does it, but as a team, that will help us. That helps us win a lot more.
And young lady, you did a great job at that. I mean, your defense was very, very good. And then we started running the offensive set. We call it L loop, and it started clicking. And my daddy always said, dance with the girl that brought you. And we stayed with that, and they didn't have any answers for that. You and your partners out there did a great job of distributing the ball and penetrating, and that was huge. That was extremely huge, what we did up there, and you're a big part of that, and we wanted to thank you for that. I'm going to transition over to Haley. Haley, I'm going to just throw you some statistics out here. In the last 3 games, which what we're talking about on this show, West Virginia Tech, Haley had 12 points, 4 rebounds. At Indiana Tech, 17 points, 6 rebounds. And then last night, Ohio Christian, 21 points and 6 rebounds. Now, for Haley's efforts last week, not counting last night, she was awarded the Player of the Week in the River States Conference. Haley, talk a little bit about what was going through your mind during those last 3 games, and you can pick and choose any of those games: West Virginia Tech, Indiana Tech, or Ohio Christian. And then maybe talk a little bit about what Player of the Week means to you as an individual, to us as a team, and what that means, the echoes that maybe has throughout the conference.
Well, I'm going to start with the Indiana Tech game. So for Indiana Tech, my role was to just make sure we came home with a win. Like, during the game, I know everybody was starting to think, like, are we going to pull this one through, everything. So I was just making sure that everybody knew that we were going to win. Like, I think I'm always the person to tell them, like, we're going to win the game. Like, regardless of what we have to do, we're going to pull it through. And as far as Player of the Week, I think Player of the Week is when the conference chooses the player that is most deserving of who played during the week. And as a team, we just feel like we have a couple girls actually on the team that could have Player of the Week. So that's just who works for it and who's most deserving of it.
Okay, good. And you hit on a little point there, which in my mind meant adversity. And you were talking about how you hyped them up, and you talk about we're going to win. We had adversity at Indiana Tech, and not negative or internal adversity. We had the adversity that this is a real team. This is a good team. We're on the road, and they're D'ing us up, and they're doing some pretty darn good things, and they're kind of getting us out of rhythm. And we didn't really play well first quarter and second quarter. But you know what? As a coach and the coaching staff, we talked about this. Never saw any heads down. Never saw, like that deer in the headlight look. Like, oh my gosh, we're just gonna fade away. You guys kept fighting, and I think that's internal. And this, from a coaching perspective, this team does a tremendous job of helping each other out. Talking about assists, they also help each other stay hyped up. Okay, yeah. I'm working on that, and that is huge. We've had a little bit of adversity in the past. I think at Point Park we I thought maybe we were down at halftime of 2 or 3 points. And, of course, last night we were down a point. And I'm starting to understand our own legacy as to what we do. First quarter, second quarter is going to be up and down. And then third and fourth quarter we do things. So that's kind of our MO at this particular point. So you're right. You hit on that. And as a team, you all pull each other together. Haley, talk a little bit. I want to go back. I'm not a superstitious person, and I don't believe in that. But Haley is doing something that's pretty remarkable. Talk about free throws, Miss Jordan.
Well, as everybody may know, I am 100%. I don't like to say it because it might throw it off, but
No, you're not.
free throws for our team is big. Like Kaylee Darnell, she holds us to a very, very high standard, 87%. But we do like press on free throws a lot during practice. Always shooting free throws, and my motive in my head is if you miss the free throw, you got to run it down and back, and nobody likes to run, so just put the ball in the basket.
And in my mind, I always remember preseason, we ran 72
Oh yeah.
down and backs for all the free throws that we missed.
And we made ourselves run, not the coaches.
Yeah.
We did that to ourselves.
So we just don't want to go back to that.
Good. Well, I'm glad that that's working, because again, we know those internal little statistical categories that we have to win, and free throws is one of them. And I'm glad you guys take ownership of that. Want to kind of go off the court a little bit and talk about life in general for a college age student, especially over the break, which we're in our last week of classes, and then finals are next week, and then we're going to be here, I believe, till December the 21st, and you'll be home December 21st through, you may not know this yet, but probably December 26th you're going to be back, and then you're going to be here from December 26th to January 16th. So it's a different world during that time. Miss Jordan, talk a little bit, or Miss Bates, talk a little bit about Christmas break, and what does that mean to you in regards to basketball, but maybe other things.
Well, on break, I like break the most because nobody's here. So all we have to do is get up, eat, go to practice, and then go to bed and do it all over again. Some days we have 2 days, but most days it's pretty good. It's good to where there's nobody in the dorm, so you don't have to wait for showers and stuff.
And we don't have to worry about COVID either. So
Yeah.
it's just basketball, so no other teams really.
And then it's a fun time too because we get to hang. We have a lot of time just to hang out with our team. So we do a lot of team bonding. We do our Secret Santa before we leave. And then it's just games and practice. So we're with each other all the time.
And that's a great point. And we also have our community. We're so blessed in our community. We have several churches, several families, several people that will take us into their home or into their church environment and feed us. And then, of course, we'll eat our fair share of Subway and McDonald's and Bob Evans and all that. But it does create a great bonding environment, and it's good to hear that. And I don't know that parents understand some of the things that we do in environments or times like this. So good job on that. Miss Jordan, talk a little bit. We got, and you can add to the Christmas break as well, but we got something coming up Sunday. Let the people know what's going on Sunday, and what does that mean to the program, and what does it mean to you?
Sunday we have our basket bingo, which for our team is it does get chaotic, but it's also fun, and it's a good experience. And I feel like we use that as team bonding as well, because we definitely have to work together like the whole entire time. We have to communicate, do other skills, social skills. And I think as a program, we do a lot of like community service. So like a lot of the community come and we'll just reach out, meet them. And I think that just helps us with our fans and everything as well.
And Miss Jordan is exactly right. We play Saturday. Our next game is Saturday up at Ohio Valley University, which is in Parkersburg, West Virginia. And because of the flip-flop on the doubleheaders on Saturday, we play at 3 o'clock. We play after the men start at 1. We play at 3. Then we are going to take a very quick food break after we get a W at Ohio Valley. And we're all coming back to the confines of Line Center Gymnasium, and then we're going to put the tarps down and build the stage and do everything for the basket bingo game that Haley just talked about. And that's a fundraiser. It's an annual fundraiser that my favorite mother-in-law of 37 years is the driving force behind this. And we, for $20, you can come and play a couple of bingo games, win some Longaberger baskets, some 31 paraphernalia, some Vera Bradley prizes. And it's just a great opportunity and a great time for bonding, and it also helps with our community service out in the community. And we make good money, and the monies we make off of that next year, either Puerto Rico or Hawaii, we haven't decided on that at this particular point. So, ladies, looking forward, we've done some great things. Let's go ahead and kind of reset goals, and what's your direction? What are we going to do going out the rest of the season? What do we want to get accomplished? I'll start with you first, Miss Bates.
Well, I'm sure everybody wants, but I want to get back past where we got last year, because we should have beat that team last year. We kind of choked, so I think that we can go way farther than we did last year. And also, another goal that I want to keep is just making sure that everybody has fun, everybody's included, especially because it is a long season, and there's ups and downs to a season. So making sure that all my teammates feel loved or feel the hype bench or anything like that, making sure they have a real teammate with them, that's important to me.
Okay, Miss Jordan.
Well, first, before I started talking about goals, I just want to say that we have an amazing coach, and last night he got his 600th win. That's a big accomplishment for him as well. And not to mention, I believe it was last week or week before, he got Coach of the Week as well. So I feel like moving forward, we have great coaches, and I just want to continue doing what we're doing, keep the streak going, win a ring, win conference, and get farther in the national tournament and actually win a game in the national tournament.
There you go. I'll amen that. Well, appreciate those sentiments, and to me the 600 wins is a direct result of people like you, of coaches like Coach Markham, Coach Bias, and then you think of all those players, and we talk about the history of our team over the years, and sometimes we're blessed when alumni come back and they come into the locker room and they talk to you, Carly Moeller and Megan Colson, now Megan Miller. There's been several that's done that, and to me that's just a direct reflection of you guys and the past. And this is a simple game. You get great people around you, you get great players and great coaches, and then you just put it into play and things are going to happen. So we're blessed, the program's blessed, and we're blessed to have you two in our system, and looking forward to going down the road like you just talked about. We've been to the national tournament, I believe, 8 times, and we've yet to draw a W, and that is our goal. Not just one. It takes 5 games to win a national championship, and why can't we be in that conversation? The way we're going, good things are happening, and that's a viable option for us. So again, appreciate you too. Appreciate Mike Thompson, and that'll wrap it up for this series. And we'll look forward to talking with you guys, I'm assuming, next week.